Hey there, Vision Growth Challenge participants. Wanted to take this moment. I also wanted to thank Jenna for kind of carrying the load the last few days. By the way, my phone is talking to me because I am actually on the highway driving back to Dallas and from a trip in Missouri. And I wanted to share with you, she had made mention that I was on a
50 miles.
Mentioned that I was on a family or commitment that I had done, and actually I want to talk a little bit about the perfect client, also talk about some of the things that Jenna's covered the last couple of days as far as my catalyst moments. And I say moments because I've been on a journey for a while. We've all been on journeys, and as we take time to reflect on where we're at and where we've come from, you will look back and see those catalyst moments in your life, as I call them, divine appointments or realizations. And then as we move on, we'll talk a little bit about my transformation and or reincarnation and that kind of discussion, and in preparation for next week's challenges that you'll be looking forward to and the emails that will come starting Monday morning. But I figured I'd use this time to kind of share with you and let you drive with me a little bit. Just pretend for a moment that you're riding in my car, and we can talk a little bit. First of all, I want to give you a little bit, for those of you who don't know me, I came out of corporate America, spent many years, so many that I hesitate to say, because you'll think, boy, this guy is really old. But I did start in the corporate world when I was 17 and have worked for large corporations. I worked for a company called EDS, had a transformational or a catalyst moment there where I moved from an operational role that was being consolidated and kind of had what I thought was a terrible situation occur where my position was being eliminated, and I had to make a decision and look at an opportunity. And once I embraced that transformation or that catalyst moment in my life where the inflection point occurred and I had to make some decisions, I had the opportunity to come to Dallas with that company, which is now HP Enterprise. It was EDS at the time. And once I made that move, I had the opportunity to work for the vice chairman, got into a whole new area, which was kind of sales or business development, which frankly, up to that point, I had been in operations and in more of an operational role, and found that that was an area that I had some experience in, ability to connect the dots, put together large multi-billion-dollar outsourcing transactions, and then make a substantial amount of money. And money is a thing that I think we're all want to make sure we have enough of, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go forward in the my own transformation journey, as well as the catalyst moments. So that went very well for quite a few years. Did that almost 19 years ago, made that move to Dallas, and had the opportunity to work on a number of deals, establish a reputation of doing that, connecting those dots, and actually Google just welcomed me to Oklahoma. So you just crossed from Missouri into Oklahoma, or Missouri as we say, those of us who grew up there. And so anyway, wanted to kind of, so we're at this journey, and a thing that called 9/11 occurred. I don't know if those of you who are around realize that that happened, but some of you are young enough, maybe it's something you heard about or didn't, but I think it tended to impact everybody's life in one way or another. And the way it impacted my life is I'd been being recruited by a company. The name of the company was Accenture, for what it's worth, and because they were building their outsourcing practice, they were looking for people who had the ability to do these large deals and help them grow their outsourcing practice. But I had been kind of putting that off. You know, change is tough. As we've talked about, when the pain of change is less than or greater than the pain of same, then you just kind of stay where you're at. So I kind of stayed doing what I was doing for about 7 months. And then some changes occurred. Had some disconnects with the CEO and the company and kind of the direction and some of the transactions they were doing, which I won't get into the specifics. But I decided after 9/11 that you come to a realization when the world as you know it changes in a big way for a lot of people. You realize I was actually supposed to be on a plane headed to Manhattan and was getting ready to fly. Oh, sorry, I'm back. That was a gap in the cellular service, and I guess I should say, since I'm on the road, the service may not be as stable. So if I pause, it's not because it's because I'm waiting for Facebook to catch up. So anyway, so what I started to say is I was supposed to be on a plane and flying to New York, and all the world changed. Planes were grounded. I had to turn around and go back home. Was heading to the airport, and obviously it was a major moment for me to consider my path. And at that point, I thought, God is bringing this opportunity of the universe, or this opportunity is coming to me, and I'm kind of stiff-arming it, and I need to do something different. So I actually took the opportunity. It actually substantially increased ultimately my compensation and opportunities, and spent the next 5 years doing large multi-billion-dollar deals. Once we got to a certain point where that was becoming routine, we had grown the outsourcing practice, had a 7-digit income. Life was good, big house, lots of cars, vacations, those kinds of things. Then another catalyst moment occurred when I actually went on a vacation to Hawaii. And you would say, okay, that's a really negative experience. Sorry about that. I see one person live with me, so for those that are live, this will just show up as a pause in the replay. But for those that are live, I apologize. But I could going from cell to cell, and I think it doesn't do well in those handoffs. But anyways, I was saying I was on a trip to Hawaii, and I was actually supposed to have finished a deal, but in fact that deal didn't get finished before I left with my family on what would have been, and 2 other families, which were great friends of mine, and we had this once-in-a-lifetime vacation where we were able to do all kinds of things. And here I was in my hotel room working on the deal, and because we were in Hawaii, because of the time difference, and the deal was, a lot of the calls were in Europe and East Coast and stuff, I spent a lot of time when everybody else was sleeping on the phone doing the deal. And as it went, obviously the deal went well. I worked hard, continued on that path. But at that point, at that catalyst moment, I realized that even though I was able to get out on Monday, get back on Friday or Thursday, and be there as I saw it for the kids, trying to provide that quality time, I come to the realization that it was quality time, but even though I was physically present many times, I wasn't emotionally or mentally present. As some people say, sometimes said, lights on, nobody home. And so I realized that at that point in the catalyst moment that I needed to make another change. I wasn't quite sure what that was. I couldn't read a book without being distracted by the deal, my mind. And so the opportunity presented itself for me to actually retire. I had reached a point, this is now 11 years ago, where I was able to retire, and the financial situation was not such that I could maintain a 7-digit a year lifestyle, but it was such that I could make a decision if I chose to kind of walk away or retire from corporate America, and then figure out what to do with the rest of my life. So I sat down with my family and my kids. My kids were all over. 4 of my 5 kids were still in middle school and high school, and said, hey, Dad's got 3 million miles on American Airlines. Look around, 7,000 square foot house and all these cars and stuff. Is it important for us to maintain these things, for you to have this kind of stuff, or would it be better if Dad were around? And without exception, each of the kids and my wife and everybody said that they'd rather have me. So I knew that that was a decision that I needed to make at that catalyst moment. Just didn't quite know what I was going to do, but I realized at that point that I needed to do something else, something that made a difference, not only to the people that I care most about, my family, my close friends, my church, but also to the people that were in my life that I could see and touch and feel. And so I went along that path, enjoyed retirement, played a lot of golf, helped friends, did some things, and then another catalyst moment occurred where I had the opportunity to take over, run a Christian church in a school. It was at a point where I'd realized after 2 years of being retired that I needed to do more. I wanted to do something. I was bored. Actually was in the process of taking an opportunity to go help another company build a consulting practice or a new practice. Even had the paperwork, was ready to sign it, and because I knew it needed to change. And some friends of mine and the pastor of the church came to me and said, "We'd like you to consider this." Well, obviously, I was looking at a $400,000 signing bonus and another, high 6-7 digit income stream. And believe it or not, as I say, you never do ministry for money. I made a decision to take the opportunity to, again, stay engaged, stick with my first instinct or catalyst decision, what I had peace about, and stick with the making a difference theme. And this all, by the way, does tie together, but I figure while I'm on the road, I might as well share as much as I can. So actually stuck with that for a while, did that for 3 years. Some things had transformed and changed there, and then realized at that point there was a catalyst moment where I realized it was time to actually move back into a more commercial setting, more consulting, spread myself around, if you will, and started then doing some other things with some friends. Took over operations of one company for a while, X Big Six, did that, helped another company for a while look at building a professional services and practice in Dallas, Houston-based company. Did some of those kinds of things. And then I met a guy by the name of Woody Buckner who helped me kind of reconnect back with the whole concept of, if anything were possible, what kind of future would you imagine? And start doing some of the things that we're talking to, and became very much a mentor of mine. At that point, I made a decision that I wasn't playing a big enough game. I really wanted to impact millions of people. I still had this gift or passion about connecting the dots, working with people, understanding what their dream story was, where they were going to go, how to help them, and then bring in people to help them do that. And when I did that, I realized that my real passion was to, again, totally be in control. One of the things is, even with the Business Growth Network, even with the Vision Challenge now, even with Robert's High Performance LLC, my catalyst moment at that point was realizing that CEOs, business owners, people in general, often with the exponential change and the things that are going on, became paralyzed. So my ideal client, kind of backing into that from my story, was to work with what I call aspirational leaders. Leaders who aren't satisfied with the status quo, or people, and we're all leaders. One of the things, first thing you have to realize is, whether you're a small business owner, you head up a family, a ministry, a large corporation, no matter what it is, you are a leader. And what I look for now, today, my perfect client is somebody who's not satisfied with the status quo, recognizes that they haven't, as I've done through many of my catalyst moments, realized that I was doing okay, I was paying the bills, I was getting from day to day, but I wasn't fulfilling my purpose, my reason for being here, my why. I wasn't, if anything were possible, totally and completely on that bridge from the future, as Woody would describe it. And so I realized that I needed to change. I needed to change some relationships. I changed some of those relationships to agency agreements. And I spent now the time networking, trying to find those aspirational leaders, those leaders that aren't satisfied with status quo, that have some desire to take either start a company, start a business, or restart or re-envision their future. And that's an easy thing to need. Most CEOs of companies, most business owners, most people with all the change, the millennials, the smartphones, the mass market movements that revolve around genomics and geopolitics and all kinds of changes in technology that are going on, brings a degree of paralysis. Yeah, you know that you're not doing exactly what you want to do, and you know there's a whole lot of things that you can do, but you don't know where to start. And you say, well, just start doing something. Well, that's exactly the problem. What you end up doing without a clear vision, without that clarity of that future state that you're working yourself towards, what'll happen is you will just continue to do what you're familiar with, putting one foot in front of the other, working with the same people, looking for the same clients, doing the same things, accepting the same limitations in your life. So I said, okay, I need to work with people in order to do that. I have placed those same limitations, those same things on myself. And so you would be amazed if people are honest with themselves, if your clients are honest with themselves, if you're honest with yourself, that they are paralyzed to a degree. They're trapped in what he would call the license to operate, the day-to-day, doing things that will pay the bills, but won't take you to that dream place that you want to be, that future that, if anything were possible, you could imagine. So in my story, I realized that I needed to take it again to the next level, that I needed to really work directly with people. I needed to be willing to invest and take the time to expand my network, to deal with people at all levels, to target and search and look for those leaders, which then has now led me to this place where I've been doing, I'm a networker. I network all the time. I think I told you at one point that, and I was going to share with you at some point along the journey, and this is as good a time as any, is how do I meet 40 or 50 new people a week? How do I search for those 40 or 50, or how do I search for those aspirational leaders? One of the ways I do that is obviously with Richardson Plano Networkers. Hi, Richardson Plano Networkers, those of you who are in my network there. But also, I do something really out of the box, at least for me. I love to drive, I love people, and I have chosen to take anywhere from 20, 25 hours a week or so out of my time and meet new people by driving for Lyft and for Uber. And you say, oh, well, it's the most beautiful thing you can imagine. I get to meet 40 or 50 new people a week. I get to spend anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes or more in a car with somebody, sometimes CEOs, sometimes business owners, sometimes just teenagers. I learn so much, and I meet 40 or 50 people a week. And in each of those people, I get to talk about the things that I talk about. I get to hear their stories. I get to learn what it is that they have to offer, and I have a blast. I love it. And people say, how do you like that? Do you like that? Well, I love to drive, and I love people. And I don't mean just a certain type of people. I'm not getting in the car saying, okay, you're not a CEO, get out of my car. You don't have that option. But you can explore and learn and understand what everybody's looking for. I mean, what they are happy with, what they're satisfied with, what it is, what are their limitations, what are their expectations, where are they going. So for me, that was another transformational or catalyst moment where I realized that I wasn't happy just sitting in my office, just doing what was normal or typical or whatever, but in fact, breaking out of that limitation and say, well, if anything were possible, I'd get in my car and people would ask me for a ride, and I get to talk to them about what they do and understand what they do, and I'd like to do that, say, for as many people a week. If you want to impact millions of people, you got to understand what millions of people are looking for, not just the people that are just like you, not just the people that are like the people you've encountered in the past, but like the people that for whatever reason you haven't got an opportunity to interact with. So that, again, is another catalyst moment. So as I look forward and I say, okay, how am I aligning with that? The aligning with those catalyst moments is one where, again, I'm trying to develop my network. I'm trying to find people
that have their own dreams, have their own aspirations, that I can go alongside and help them and encourage them, and not just for the benefit of my people, but or my family and the people that are closest to me, and not just me, but for, in fact, getting some impact on their lives. I'm driving and doing that on my terms, because the thing is, it's not about money. If that's where you're at with this, if your whole thing is, I want to sell more product, I want to do more services because I need to make more money, because I need to have the big house, I need to have the big car, I need to have all the stuff, let me tell you something. That runs out, because guess what? I've been there. I've done that. I know what that's like. And you know what? It's not that great. It's great to have enough money to be able to eat and be able to make decisions and do what you want to do. Right now, today, I have that. I mean, will that be tomorrow? I don't know. Will it be more tomorrow? I don't know. The reality of it is, today, I'm spending my time. You say, well, you're spending your time driving back from Missouri. How boring is that? Well, I'm now spending it talking to you. And also, I got to go to Missouri today and help my mother this weekend. And I say I got to because this was something that was important to me, is my mother, we were able to sell her house in record time, which in an area where they don't sell in record time, not like Dallas. And that was a blessing. And be able to see her moving to Kansas City, back to closer to my brother and sister, and all those things, and liquidate the contents of her stuff that she'd been accumulating over her whole lifetime, but get them to people that would be blessed by them, and also make that happen, and be able to have the ability to go do that, where so many people, because of what they've chosen to do, because of their status quo, they are not able to do those things. And I'm blessed and fortunate to be able to do that, and that's important to me. So that's part of that whole picture. Remember, we talked about that future vision, that dream story, those things being clearly something that is holistic. And your family and those that are closest to you, you can never forget about them in the whole practice. I've done that in the past. You can get so obsessed and so consumed with the stuff, with what the world and what everybody else would tell you is successful, that you'll find that that's not success at all. That's not going to make you happy. In fact, that's going to make you distracted and unable to be around and be present with the people that you want to be with. And I tell this to everybody, men, women, but guys, the guys in this network, the guys on this vision channel, you're doing the same thing. And so I would ask you to get past that limitation, that past limitation, that expectation that it's all about money, and it's really about time and your control and ability to spend that time. Not spend that time, really. That's the wrong term, and I always say that. Not spending the time, but investing your time. And investing your time in people and their dreams and their futures. And first start with your spouse or your significant other and your children and your parents, if you have them, if you're blessed enough to have them. I lost my dad almost 19 years ago, but I will tell you that I wish I would have spent more time with him. I wish I would have spent more time with everybody that has been in my life. I wish I had the opportunity to spend more time with every one of you. But the thing is, I don't want to end my life with those kind of regrets. So I've made the decision in my catalyst moment to have an impact. And I want to impact millions of people. I want people to, and it's not about numbers. It's about knowing that at the end of the day, that you really made a difference to me. That may not be your dream story. That's okay. But I'm just telling you, I'm being transparent and honest with you, and that's why we're doing the Business Growth Network. I want a network of leaders who are aspirational and business owners that can help other people and are willing to pay it forward and give first and ask questions later, and realize that Bill Gates can't buy yesterday. Your time is the most valuable thing, so invest it. Be efficient with it. Find ways to sow into other people and build other people. And you know what? A guy by the name of Zig Ziglar, I'll never forget, said, when I first heard it, he's the first person I heard, it's probably been said before, but he said, those who make the most other people successful will be the most successful. Those people, and that isn't his exact quote, but that's what I heard, was being able to impact other people and taking your sights off of yourself and trying to build other people and build their wealth will build your wealth by default. If you are the most valuable node on your network, you won't have trouble driving traffic. If you provide the most value to your customers and your friends and your people, you won't be friendless. You won't be without customers. You won't be without people. If you need business partners and associates, if you provide the most value to them, you won't have trouble finding partners and associates. So all I will say to you today, and I'm going to get off my rant here because I probably ought to focus on the road. I'm not even sure if I missed my exit yet or not. I'm on Highway 44 headed towards 69 to head to Dallas down 75. But anyway, for what it's worth, I just wanted to take this time, use this time that I had, the most valuable thing I've got at my disposal, to have a Facebook Live, to share it with the Business Growth Network, and for those who have chosen to join live and those who will see the replay, hopefully as we go forward. But I hope this has been helpful as you consider the challenges that will come up this week, and maybe reflect on the challenges for the Business Growth Network and for the Vision Challenge participants that you actually come across as we go into this next week, and reflect on last week. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks. Pray for me to have a safe trip here, and I'll be back in Dallas this evening, and see you tomorrow for tomorrow's Facebook Live. Love you. Bye.